been about a year. What's up, Earl? How you doing, man?
What's going on? How you doing?
All right. Today, everybody, we have Earl Morgan in the house, and we're going to interview him, ask him all about his photography life. And we're going to first start off by asking him about his photography history, or his history being a photographer, and what are the influences that he had getting into photography. So, Earl, tell us a little bit about your photography history.
So you want to know my history?
Yeah, well, not necessarily your whole history.
You're trying to age me like I'm aging or something?
No, because even I got a photography history. So you saying that, you kind of
okay. So how I started in 1984.
84, okay.
84.
Uh-huh.
I'm 14 years old.
Uh-huh.
So my brother was in the Air Force. He was stationed over in England.
Uh-huh.
He came to visit. And he brought home a 35 millimeter camera.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Nikon. And plus, where I'm from, you used to Polaroids and instant cameras. I never seen anything like it. Mm-hmm. So I was curious. So I started playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
He was there for 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And I left it in the wrong area of the house, and he forgot it and went back to England.
Now, do you know what Nikon that is? Not to interrupt you.
Oh, geez, I don't know. I was 14 years old.
I don't know.
I was 14 years old.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, this is cool.
Yeah.
So we called him. I said, hey, you left your camera at home. Do you want to send it? He goes, no, give it to Earl. And I was like, what? So here am I, 14-year-old, with this really expensive camera. And I'm going around just shooting. I'm shooting get-togethers, family get-togethers, parties. Went up to Canada, did some shooting there. And I just got hooked. But I never went to school for photography. I'm just learning on the fly. So in '88, I joined the Air Force myself. And of course I had my camera with me. It was attached to my hip. So every place I went to, it was San Antonio, it was Saudi Arabia. Anywhere I went, I had that camera with me. I'm taking shots. I mean, if you go to my house right now, there's like stacks of photo albums in the garage. So I was doing that on and off for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And then when I retired, I went to corporate. Of course, that's what everybody does, going to corporate. Mm-hmm. I still have my camera. So I'm basically shooting as a hobby. So there's one organization I went to work for. They were an event management company. The owner and the director of creative were both Canon shooters. Mm-hmm. So they would shoot the event, and I'm sitting here just watching them, just learning.
Now, by the way, what time you said you met your coordinators? You said they were Canon shooters, but what era? What kind of time was this?
This is now
like what?
2014.
Okay, so they had something maybe around the 7D-ish, 5Ds.
Yeah.
This is like 5D Mark III, 5D Mark IV area.
Yeah.
So this is that kind of area for those of us who are Canon shooters. Because I remember 2014, and I had a wedding in 2014 that I shot the 5D Mark IV with, if I recall correctly. So yeah, this is around the 5D Mark IV, the 1DX Mark II era for Canon. For those of us who shoot that.
Yeah. So I watched them shoot events, and I'm like, this is a pretty cool job. I like to start shooting some events, but I never got a chance to. So when I went to my next job, was a nonprofit in DC, I started shooting their events. I just started shooting as I got my camera, just like click, 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 click. Not hired, just doing it for fun. And then in 2020, I was in Florida running an event, and I wasn't feeling well. And I told the people I was talking to, I was like, hey, I'm not feeling well. Then I started slurring my words, and I said, I need to lay down. So I get to the hotel room. About 10 seconds later, there's a knock on my door, and it's hotel security. We need to take you to the hospital now. So rushed me to the hospital. I remember everything. I went to sleep, woke up, my wife is there. Granted, she's in North Carolina, and now she's in Florida.
Oh, wow.
I was thinking, honey, what you doing here? And I went, I can't move. So basically, I had a stroke, and I was paralyzed on the right side for about a month. So I had to learn how to use my right arm again, learn how to walk again, and I describe rehab. You ever seen Rocky?
Yeah.
Ever seen all four?
Not all four.
Okay, so imagine all the training montage in Rocky, all four of them put together in one. That's
wow.
rehab.
Wow.
That's rough. That's rough. So once I started walking again, started using my right arm again, I went back to work, and I noticed things were different. They moved on. So I was kind of stuck. It's like, I'm not doing my normal job. What can I do now? And so I'm really frustrated. So I called my sister, and I'm just like, I'm angry. I can't believe they just moved on without me. And it's like, I don't know what to do. And she goes, you big idiot. Want to be a photographer? And I'm like, what? She goes, you ever seen your photos? They're really good. You be a photographer. And I was like, are you serious? She goes, yes, I'm serious. And so I'm thinking about it, and it's like, okay, maybe it's time for me to take that leap to do it full time. So I retired from my job, and I said, I'm gonna go full blown photography. You know, I know people, you know, if I need to get a job, you know, to hire me as a photographer, great, right? Well, I was wrong, because yeah, they knew my work as an event manager, but they didn't know my work as a photographer. So trying to get hired was like, yeah,
I know.
We need to see a portfolio.
And
I was like, oh man, so what I'm gonna do? So now I'm calling people, shooting for free. And you know, they say, well, word of mouth doesn't get around, doesn't work. You won't get it out of work with word of mouth, right? So unfortunately, we had an incident in the family. I had to go away. I had to go fly out to Hungary for my wife's dad's funeral. And I got back. I was gone for a month. I got back, and my phone was ringing off the hook. And I was like, what's... And I'm calling. I was like, hey, can I help you? He goes, yeah, we need a photographer. He visited on this date. And I was like, no, I'm not. But I could come on over. And I was like, I had no clue what I was doing. It was like, it was either a birthday party or a wedding downtown at the courthouse, or sports. I was getting phone calls, and I'm like, now I'm learning on the fly.
Now, pause on that portion. You said you had to go because you had an emergency in Hungary. Was there something that you did on social media, like post pictures or start a website, or was there some kind of conduit, some kind of catalyst that actually got people to say, oh, photographer, this guy, this guy? Does your photography have a certain name, or were you sending out emails that were portfolios or something like that before you left for Hungary because of the incident?
Yeah. So I named the business Center Photography after my dad. So it's his middle name. So I was posting on Instagram.
Oh.
Right. So I could say it really started when I called the North Carolina Trailblazers. I go, hey, you know, I'm a sports photographer. You know, I love to shoot you guys. It would be no cost. You had to come out, try out, and I can give you the photos, right? I shot basketball. That was easy. I shot baseball. That was easy. Shot soccer. That was easy. Shot cricket down the street. That was easy. Hockey is a totally different animal. I was so frustrated because they were so fast. And one minute you have, baseball, you have somebody running straight towards you. But hockey, they're skating towards you, and in a split second, they're turning. So you take a picture of the back of their head.
Yeah.
So if you saw my earlier hockey photos, they weren't that great. They were decent, but they weren't that great. So one of the players she was playing in a tournament, and she told the guy who's running, hey, I know a hockey photographer. You may want to contact them. So they went through Instagram and contacted me, said, hey, do you mind shooting this tournament? And I was like, of course. I said yes. You know, one thing I learned from a speaker, you may have heard of her, Joe London. She was an anchor of Good Morning America.
It sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, she was an anchor. So she's supposed to be a doctor, and they was doing so the story is that she was out with some friends, and they said, hey, we need somebody to help us out with this. We're doing a newscast. Can you do it? And she said, yeah. Right? So she had to learn on the fly. And she did that, and look at her.
Wow.
Since she's,
people will get that, and that's networking. That was going back to what you said earlier, networking. And people say word of mouth don't travel.
Yeah, it travels.
It travels. It definitely travels.
It travels. So I'm still doing the hockey photography, and I'm still frustrated because I'm getting the shots, but they were blurry, and I was like, they were decent, and I was like, okay, I need some help. So I called a friend named Kira, and she was a model in Raleigh. So I said, hey, how's photography going? She goes, it's going great, blah, blah, but I'm trying to get hockey down. I think it'd be so easy, but the photos are not looking as great as I want. She goes, you shooting hockey? I'm like, yeah. She goes, I know a hockey photographer.
Oh.
Just like that. Because I was reaching out to other hockey photographers in the area, and nobody would answer the call, right? So I met this guy named Rob Miracle, and I still owe him a greater thank you, because he what he taught me in one night lasts me forever. I mean, he actually came out with me. So he called me and goes, hey, I'm Rob, we started talking. He goes, when you shooting hockey again? I go, I'm shooting this Sunday. He goes, let me come out with you. I said, okay. And he was just showing me the ropes. Lighting in the hockey rink was different because it was an older rink, so the lighting wasn't that great. So he told me how to adjust my lighting. And then we shot another rink, and I was like, this is amazing. This is what I need. And next thing you know, my hockey photography is like night and day. Wow. So I went from shooting 4 games a week to shooting 12 to 18 games a month.
Okay. But it's great to see how the different avenues, despite your struggles, despite what you thought wasn't possible, despite you having physical ailments or anything like that, you were able to pursue what you wanted despite what people would have thought. Or if you would have told somebody in 2020 about your situation, they probably wouldn't have given you the positive advice that your sister would have got. So having good people in your circle, having a great network around you, and sometimes not so great because you did have a lot of phone calls that hung up. It might not have been your direct network, of course, but once things got legs, they got legs, and they start walking. And they start walking in the sports photography area, whereas in the past you were doing events and stuff like that, where some people may have not, wanted you to stay in the event. I'm not sure, but you probably got more sports than you did events back then. And I think that's probably where you mainly focus on, right? The sports photography.
Sports. I'm doing events again.
Events again. Oh yeah, you are doing events. You said something about headshots again, didn't you?
Yeah.
You said something about headshots as well. Okay.
Yeah. So I try to avoid the weddings at all costs. But I won't mind doing the courthouse weddings. They're easy, go to that courthouse. I know a lot of the judges now.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Earl, say, hey, how you doing, Judge? I got a ticket. So,
you got to scan your equipment. You just walk in.
Yeah, right.
So I've done courthouse weddings before, or at least a couple. And it's just so nerve-wracking when you got to go in there and you're going into the courthouse. They don't got to go far to put you in jail for what you got in your bag. I'm not saying that you have anything bad in your bag, but they're going to be looking at you. They're going to be probing and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, how you want me to unzip my bag? That's how
it got to the point I was there so much. It's like they were like, hey, Earl, how you doing? It's like, we look at your bag. Go ahead and go. But a lot of weddings I'm doing now are your backyard weddings. Weddings at the house, weddings at the hotel. I did one wedding at the park. So actually I got a wedding in High Point, North Carolina. We're doing it at a park.
Oh, okay.
So, but a lot of people don't know, which I tell my clients, check the park website. Because a lot of these parks are charging. And I learned that lesson doing an engagement shoot. We had it at Duke University at Duke Gardens.
Oh, here we go. I know all about Duke Gardens.
So we had the Duke Gardens, and it was they were coming from Fayetteville, which is about an hour away.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm there, I'm getting my equipment ready, and I see some photographers with these yellow badges on.
Oh.
And I go, hey, where you wearing a yellow badge? Oh, that's my permit. I'm like, what? You need a permit to shoot here? I was like, yeah. So I had to run into the office. Say, hey, I'm new. I heard you need a permit. I got this client. They're about 15 minutes away. There's any way I could get a permit right now? She goes, yeah, $150.
Yeah.
I said, what? She goes, yeah, $150. And I said, okay, let me pay. And I talked to the client, so I paid it. And I said, ma'am, can I ask you why we're paying for a permit? And she said, a lot of these parks are charging now because the photographers are taking over the parks. They take it with the equipment, with the tripods. It's like people can't enjoy the parks anymore. So we limit it, so we start charging, and we limited how many photographers go to the park. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, so I went there once, and I had a similar story, but it was a wedding party, and it was just me and a daughter. I think she was maybe 16th birthday party, and her mom. And she wanted to take some pictures or whatever. We were taking pictures. We were already there for a good little while. We could have probably left by the time one lady stopped me and said, hey, do you have a permit, whatever. And this is back when permits weren't as enforced.
Yeah.
And even the people on the golf carts, I don't know what you call them.
Golf carts.
Golf cart guys that manage. No disrespect to the maintenance guys. I think it's the maintenance. But maintenance came around and they saw me and they was just like, okay, because she had a balloon. Mm-hmm. He said, just make sure you put that balloon away because if the balloon gets stuck in the guard, it affects the ecosystem and everything like that. It pollutes our land and all this stuff. So, and then the lady that found me, she was like, we're having a wedding in this section. I was like, okay, I don't mind. I don't have to be in this section. We're not going to try to take over anything. Like mirroring what you said, they thought that the photographer was going to take over and everything like that. And they weren't going to have a chance to enjoy the park or the garden like anybody else. And I have, Duke Garden is a huge garden. Yes. But there is definitely a lot of people that traffic Duke Gardens, but $150 is a lot.
Yeah, so it was $150 after 5. Golden hour. They charge more for golden hour.
Okay, so do you know what the prices were prior to?
$100.
Do you know how long that permit lasts? Is that a day permit?
I don't know how long. I never.
I need to look that up.
Yeah,
because I looked it up once and I saw prices like that, and that's when I stopped shooting there. But this is like but before then, kids go there all the time for prom. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't have light stands and all sorts of stuff, but they do have like cell phones and stuff like that. I also see photographers that are in nature photographers, like photographers that are photographing macro and close-up bees and plants and all the other foliage and plants that they planted in the garden, because they have unique plants that you never see anywhere else. So that people, guys get their DSLRs and their macro lenses and they roll out there. I don't know if it is a thing where you can sneak past them if you don't have light stands and a whole production. Because I see him. It didn't look like he had no badge, but this was a while ago. Didn't look like he had a badge on, but he definitely had a DSLR, and he was taking macro shots of the foliage and the plants and the flowers there. So
I think what she also explains to me why it is happening. If you can make money off of the park, then you're a professional photographer. So if I'm getting paid $150 for a shoot, they're like, oh, they're using our park as a background, we could charge them. So that's how they start, and a lot of parks are doing it now. But here's the thing. So I had a client that wanted to do a shoot at Bond Park, right? So I said, parks are charging. I'm gonna call. Let me call and find out how much it costs. So I called and I said, hey, photographer, I got people getting engaged, how much is for the permit? And she said, what? I go, how much is for a permit to shoot in the gaming shoot. She said, what are you talking about? We don't charge. She goes, I go, oh. She goes, wait a minute, does Park Tower charging? And I go, yeah, does Park Tower charging? So she put me on mute. She put me on mute, and I could hear her. She goes, and I could hear her goes, you believe some of these parks are charging now? And the guy's like, no way. And she get back on the phone, and I said, ma'am, listen, please don't charge me for. She goes, sir, we're not going to charge anybody to shoot here. And so when I go to Baldwin Park, I mean, there's hardly no photographers there. Yeah. Please don't come to Baldwin Park, okay? So that's my territory. Yeah. So there's another park in the neighborhood that they don't charge at all. You just need to have a permit. Mm-hmm. You know, all they ask for, you don't bring a tripod or any lighting equipment with you. That's it. I was like, okay. So there are a few parks that don't charge, but here's the other thing, which I tell some other photographers, you know, some painters treat the paints like a canvas. I treat mine like a coloring book. So I could drive around and look around and I said, oh my God, that's a good spot for a shoot. Or so if you ever see me around town with a camera and I'm shooting at a business park, I'm shooting at a business park because I got the scenery right there that I need.
All right, so we'll get right into lenses. Not necessarily your lenses, but let's see here. But we're specifically talking about lens prices going up.
You know why?
Why?
Tariffs. Tariffs,
yeah, that too. I heard.
Yeah.
So lens prices have really been shooting. I'm only speaking from the Canon perspective of things because I know Canon, and we're both Canon shooters.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert, right? But I know that Canon is making the RF lenses.
Right.
And the reason why I say things are getting pricier is because it seems as though, I mean, to match, you know, Tamron, Sigma, Tokina, and all these other third parties, is they got to make cheaper alternatives.
Yeah.
But the issue with that is I've been following a YouTube lens reviewer named Chris Frost.
Okay.
And he always takes off all the lens corrections off the mirrorless cameras. He turns it off if he can.
Right.
And sometimes you'll get this massive vignetting, like the image doesn't even go to the edges of the screen. And it's telling me that ever since Canon has started making the RF lenses, some lenses have not really been redesigned.
Right.
Some lenses have been just like borrowed from the EF world and just kind of maneuver. And I'm not saying that there's anything necessarily too wrong with it, but I feel like when he shows you that and he's like, you have to use lens corrections to use this lens on your camera body, or it won't let you turn off lens corrections because it's trying to compensate for something that probably should have had in the past already. It's just like, I really want to get more of what I paid for.
Right.
And that RF lenses, they're going to be more expensive. You have that new RF control ring that nobody really, I don't use. I don't know if you use the RF control ring, but let's just talk about lens prices going up in general. Have any experience with that? I mean, other than tariffs, do you know any other reasons why lens prices would be so expensive?
I can't think of anything. I know the last lens I bought was a 85 millimeter, and it was decently priced. So, like, I went to the local camera store, and we talked about it 'cause I was thinking about getting an R6. It hadn't come out yet, and he's like, I asked him about how the tariffs are affecting the camera business. He goes, it sucks. It's bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know the camera sales have slowed down. So, yeah, I think the main thing is the tariffs. But also, another possibility is that the third-party lenses are not working with the Canons anymore.
Yeah. I know that when Canon, and for those of you who don't know, when Canon went to the RF lenses, maybe about, I want to say, a year afterwards, because I did buy a third-party Viltrox 85mm 1.8 lens for my Canon R5. That was like the first RF lens that I ever owned. And it was a third-party one. It was great, and it worked fine. I didn't have any hang-ups or anything like that, and then all of a sudden, Viltrox is not making it. There's not on their website anymore, the lens, so if I want the firmware update, which I don't, if I want to know anything about warranty or anything like that, they really didn't want to talk about this lens. They didn't really want to broadcast that they had the lens. Same thing with Samyang Rokinon. Same thing with Tokina Sigma and Tamron. Is they didn't really want to even talk about it.
Yeah.
And then Canon came out with their press and said that, hey, we are no longer supporting third parties, or at least the third parties were saying we're not able to make third party glass for the RF bodies, which put them in a bad situation. But now it seems as though Sigma is able to make third party glass for Canon, because Sigma has at least 3 APS-C, not full frame, APS-C lenses for the RF bodies, but they have not came out with any full frame lenses for the RF body, and I think that was pretty peculiar. It's like, out of all the things that you could bring, I would think that they would bring a full frame lens first, because it covers more of the image circle, and that would be more of a, you know, a guideline for all the lenses that were smaller. But you also can say that APS-C's lenses are smaller and they magnify the imperfections of the lens. The sensors are smaller and therefore the lenses will be smaller. So I guess maybe that, I don't know, but I really don't understand what specifically Sigma is doing, because Sigma seems like they're the biggest third party manufacturer out of all of them.
Just full disclosure, I stopped buying third party lenses.
All right, now you gotta tell me.
Okay, so
third party.
So I did have a Tamron for my R3. I was shooting a golf tournament, and it's going great. I'm shooting, and everybody's waving, and next thing you know, the camera stopped. I was like, and so took the camera off, put it back on. It stopped. It wouldn't shoot at all, and I was like, oh my God, they're paying me a lot of money to shoot this tournament. So luckily, I said, is it the camera or is it the lens? So I had a Canon body, a Canon lens with me. Put that bad boy on, it worked perfectly. So I shot with a 15 by 24 lens for the rest of the day.
So
I was sitting up close up to the plate.
Yeah. So what were you shooting again?
15 to 20.
What event? What?
It was our golf tournament in DC.
Okay, and question for that 24, what were you shooting with that was the third party lens? What focal length? Was that a 70 to 200? Did I miss it? Okay, so that was a 70 to 200, what brand?
Tamron.
Okay,
yeah.
No shade to Tamron. No shade to Tamron. I'm just saying, you know, I don't know, maybe Earl might have had something issue with, I don't know.
But the thing is, I was using that Tamron lens like it was my best friend. I was shooting everything, every event.
So what? Sorry.
Go ahead.
What was I going to say? So what body were you using it on?
Was Canon R3.
Adapted?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was an EF lens that you used on a Canon body, RF Canon body, or R mount Canon body. So there's that. And what error did you get?
I don't remember what it is. It's been a few years now, but it would just.
Did it freeze like it was just bricked, or do you remember it actually saying something?
I remember saying it was an error.
Oh, okay. So there was an actual error code that came up.
Yeah.
Because I've had issues like that with third-party lenses. I have a 50 millimeter Sigma 1.4 art lens, and see what's so crazy about these third-party lenses is that specifically the Sigma art lenses were sought after at the end of the EF, like right around the end of the DSLR age, specifically for Canon, and they had the 18 to 35, 1.8 for crop frame sensor bodies. That's like the fastest crop frame sensor lens that you can find on the market today.
Yeah.
People use that for like the C70, C80, and a lot of crop frame sensor cinema bodies. So all that said, they had the fast at 1.450. All of them were sharp, and I just knew with them being out for quite a while, the price would have dropped. Yeah. On top of they were a discount lens, and then when I had the when I got the R5, that I knew I was gonna have a pair match made in heaven, right? So I used to shoot this 50 millimeter at a basketball game. I had used to do basketball indoor, and it was low light.
Yeah.
I've even thought to bring my strobes into the basketball court, which I got in trouble for.
Yeah, I know you get in trouble.
That's
like bringing lights to a theater or doing a play.
My supervisor said I could, and I raised them up though. And some of the basketball players were kind of getting annoyed. So after one time doing that, I didn't do that no more. But I wanted to push the limit because people were loving the images, right?
Yeah.
And I was shooting that lens at 1.4, 50 millimeters, and it did really well, especially with the the 45 megapixels of the R5. You can crop. You can really utilize your image sensor. So if you weren't close enough, you could get in. But most of the time when people did the big shots, it was like dunking and stuff like that. So that was at 50 millimeters, and a lot of those shots came out good. Even the going up for a 3, it was good. And anybody that's a good basketball photographer, they know they need to be under the lens where people shoot from their right side and not their left side. See, I'm a lefty, but if people shoot from their right side, you can see their face if you're on the opposite side, all this other stuff. So you had to get that one spot that I knew I loved more than any spot, and 50 millimeters was perfect. But I did get error codes. I had to drop the battery a few times. And the RF lens adapted to that EF 50 millimeter Sigma lens. It would make it freeze sometimes. So sometimes I gotta drop the battery and do what it do to get it done. Well, once I put the battery back in there, it was fine, and it didn't do that often. But you can also still get a high frame rate with third-party lenses like the Sigma Art lenses. So whereas some older EF lenses, you can't even get that. Right. So you would think that the third-party lenses would have better contact with the new mirrorless bodies, even adapted. Because I always preach those older third-party or those older lenses get a boost when you adapt it to a full-frame mirrorless. Especially if you have IBIS, you have in-body image stabilization, corrections on your, and I think maybe your they have a depth of field or what is it when your lens hunts in video? They have the correction. Lens hunting correction. I don't know what it's called, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But I'm not sure if that's extended to the third-party lenses, but they do get a boost when you're using the RF full-frame bodies.
After that, I haven't been back to a third-party lens since because, things you do worry about. You worry about your camera malfunction. You worry about your memory card malfunction. The last thing I want is my lens malfunction. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always carry 2 bodies when I'm doing events. So I was to play it safe. So another story that I was running an event in San Antonio, and I hired a photographer, which was a good friend of mine at the time, and we had an award ceremony, and she did not have the dual cards. She had the one card, and during the ceremony, the card
corrupted.
Yeah.
You know what body she was shooting with?
Oh God, no, I don't.
It gotta be like a 6D, a 5D Mark II.
God,
because the 5D Mark III has dual card slots, or at least she didn't use it.
Yeah.
5D Mark IV has dual card slots, CF and SD. It was a pro body, or was it like a?
It's a pro body.
It's a pro body, so it has to be a 5D, 6D, 1D, and not using unless you had a 6D Mark I. That's the only pro body beginner pro body that I know that would have one slot only.
Right, because.
And a 60 Mark II.
Yeah, that's the one feeling I do not want to have as a photographer when something goes wrong and you can't correct it. I mean, she was in tears in the back when the car corrupted, and so we had no photos of the award ceremony. And luckily the people who I work at the time, they understood that it was a bad situation. Things happen. I know some people are not like that. They probably go off the deep end. But it happened in 2014. It is now 2026. She still remembers. That event.
Yeah. Things like that it's happened to me once before, and I was shooting video, and the company couldn't recover the files. But going back to what you were saying earlier about lenses, let's get into going back to what you were saying earlier about bodies having dual card slots and being up to date. Let's talk about the R6 Mark III. Because the last thing we want is something to conk out on us. And I think you provided me with some new information recently on the new R6 Mark III. For those of you who don't know, the R6 Mark III, of course, is the update to the R6 Mark II. R6 Mark II is what we're filming on right now, so we can't say too much.
Yeah, right.
R5 Mark I right here on the close-up on Earl. But I say all that to say, you have so many different cameras that you can use. And pause on this question. But I'm gonna ask you a question. What are your thoughts on the R6 Mark III? So thoughts on. I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead.
So thoughts on the R6 Mark III? I think you provided me with some new information.
Yeah. So I almost got one. I was very close to get one, and I shoot a lot of hockey. So the complaint I'm seeing online is that it doesn't work well in the cold temperature, which I'm like, okay, if I'm a hockey rink shooting that thing and it gets cold in there, believe me, you see me bundle up in the winter coat shooting hockey, but the last thing I want is that for cold weather to affect that camera. So that's what I've heard. I know there's any more complaints about it, but the few stuff I saw online is like, yeah, it doesn't work well in cold weather. But you know what? That's with a lot of the mirrorless cameras, because the first thing that's going to go when you're shooting in cold weather is the battery. It's going to die faster. So
now, when you say the R6 Mark III has issues, because you're saying something that's very polarizing.
Yeah. I know. I don't want to get sued by Canon.
They didn't pay their $2,900 for the R6 Mark III and an extra $500 for the 45mm 1.2. We'll get into that in a moment.
Yeah.
But what specifically is it? Just the battery life? Do you know if they're saying that it's freezing up, as in the screen is like it's inoperable on the?
No, I saw something brief on it. I talked to a few friends about it, and they said they heard the same thing. So I haven't really looked into it. I never got one. So that's something probably people need to look into before buying. Especially if you're going up in the Arctic or Alaska and shooting.
Yeah, and this is just a warning for everybody, and this is nothing against Canon. I've been a Canon shooter for years and years and years. But one thing that I do need to stress to everybody that's looking to move into the mirrorless world is you got to have your backups, have your backup cameras, have your backup cards, have a dual card slot camera. The R6 Mark III was a good choice at first, so we thought. Now we have the CF Express Type B card in there and the SD card that you can use, I believe, simultaneously for most things, if not all things, video and photo. Use it as a redundant backup or an extension to your memory. But my thing is, check your cameras, because Canon cameras right now are experiencing some issues that we didn't before. Hot shoe mounts. My hot shoe mount about fell off my R5 Mark I.
Really? I didn't know that.
Now, I haven't been using my hot shoe mount as much on my R6 Mark II, which we're filming on now. But this R5 Mark I right here, I had to actually go into the R5 and actually put some Loctite on the 4 screws that they have in there. And I just looked at a YouTube video and did it, but I didn't have time and the funds at the time to get a hot shoe replaced and then send my camera off for maybe a week or 2 or 3 weeks and pay. It's like, and see, my thing is that I had a 7D. This is a DSLR back in the DSLR days. I had a 5D Mark II. I had an XSI or whatever, like some of the first crop frame CF card Canon cameras. The 80D, the 70D, I've used T2i, T1i, T5i. None of these cameras, none of them had hot shoe issues. None of them. Right. Even some of these cameras I have to this day, they do not have hot shoe issues. Nobody's had to open the cameras up or anything like that. And that's why it took me for a shock when that hot shoe really started to like wobble and stuff like that. And I was like, I thought it was the actual device, the receiver that I was putting on there, or it was the Atomos Ninja monitor that I was putting on there. I was like, oh, maybe these are loose in the screws somewhere at the base. No, it was the hot shoe itself, because I started touching the hot shoe, and then the next thing you know, people start saying hot shoe issues, Canon recalls and stuff like that. I'm not even sure if Canon went through a whole recall with these hot shoes. But this is a big no for me because I do a lot of strobe photography.
Yeah.
You know, I do a lot of strobe, off-camera lighting and stuff like that. That'll be like 90% of my work sometimes in like a month span. It's like really, I'm getting misfires. I'm thinking my street light's gonna fall off in the middle of shooting. Like it's that bad. I was even at a wedding and I think it was affecting me then and I didn't even know it.
Wow.
So but that's the R6 Mark III, so guys. So watch out, have your backups, understand what you're shooting, how you're shooting it, and understand what your liabilities are.
But there's another thing that you need to be concerned with. It's with the sensor being exposed to light. So I have an R3. I've been shooting it for like a few years now. And I was sent out to get some maintenance, do the 18-point maintenance from Canon. So it's about $140 to get that all done, to check it out. So I get an email from Canon. I was like, hey, we suspected there's some damage on your sensor. So we're going to have to look into some more. And I said, okay, great. I'm going to make sure it's working properly. 2 weeks later, I get a nice email from Canon. Your sensor is damaged and it's due to laser/sunlight exposure. So basically what it is, I know, because I usually, when I change my lenses, I usually point my camera down. So I get no light on the sensor. And I twist it, no problem. So basically what they tell me that there was light that was hitting the sensor for so long and intensity of the heat on that sensor that it damaged it. So the price tag.
Oh wow.
The price tag. So remember, I told you it was, when I sent it out, it was $140 to get the maintenance, right? The price tag to get that repair was, I think it was $1,250. And that was like, they said I need a brand new sensor. Yeah, I replaced the whole thing. So I said, nope, can you send it back? Right. So luckily I found a third-party company. No, I'm sorry, my mistake. The price tag for the repair was $2,500. Wow. So the third-party company was charging me half of that.
Oh, okay.
So I had to decide, do I get it repaired or do I buy another R5 Mark II? So I bought another R5 Mark II and I was like, off to the races, because I had events coming up and I was like, I needed a second camera bad.
And that's another good lesson for you guys. A lot of times when you need warranty or maintenance work done on your camera, this is why backups are so important. And it's because you get into the situation and you're like, mirrorless cameras are new. Not to say DSLRs didn't have this issue, but mirrorless cameras definitely expose the sensor a lot more.
Yeah.
I've heard of this issue of a laser.
Yes.
And it don't take long at all,
Yeah.
especially if you got high-powered laser-like lighting in your concerts. A lot of people say anytime you have those DJ lights that are extremely strong and they'll swipe past your lens extremely quickly. Next thing you know, you have this issue with your sensor where it's showing you something weird on there and you cannot get rid of it. Now you got to send your camera back just for doing your job. Nothing you did. You didn't drop the camera. You didn't. You just used it.
That's what I think what happened. I think when I was shooting a wedding, to think of it, the DJ had lasers and they probably hit the sensor.
Especially if it's directly at the sensor. Because the lens is probably like a magnifying glass.
Yeah. Yes.
And you never think about it. And I think that since the DSLRs have mirrors, they probably can bounce that light off the sensor, and the sensor is not so exposed to it. But to see the actual picture, you have to point the sensor and the lens towards something. Therefore, the light is always actively in your lens, which is one of the greatest benefits of the mirrorless camera. But it's also the greatest drawback because you got to have these digital screens that are always on and that's always accepting that light, no matter how violent it might be to the sensor. So let's get on to the next thing. And this is another product that came out with the R6 Mark II. The R6 Mark III. This product came out with the R6 Mark III. It is the Canon 45mm 1.2. And I want to lead this by saying I was so excited to see a cheap plastic fantastic, so to speak, because we had the plastic fantastic 50mm 1.8
Yes,
back when it was very popular. This had to been like 25 years ago. Now we have a 45mm 1.2. A lot faster than 1.8. I want to say a little bit better build quality from what I've seen. I've never had this lens in my hand myself, but
not yet.
having having this opportunity and seeing that Canon is looking out for us is great. But I was looking at a video from my boy Chris Frost. And he does a lot of lens reviews. As a matter of fact, I think he's done the most lens reviews out of any YouTube creator. Shout out Christopher Frost. He was saying that when he shoots at 1.2, and any aperture between 1.2 and 2.8, he gets this back focusing issue. Now I'm not sure necessarily it was a back focusing issue. It's a weird focusing issue where the edges are sharp, but the middle is not sharp.
Right.
And we'd rather our lenses have a unsharp outside, but a sharp inside. And I'm like, dang, if this is what this lens happened, I don't know if he had a bum copy or it was, it can be adjusted after the fact. But with them, that lens is only like what, $400, $500, $475, and $500, between that range. But for them to be drawing back on so many, price cutting, we are seeing the backlash of that. Now, if you're shooting at 2.8 and more stop down, 3.5, f4, 4.5, f5.6, you won't see this. Right. It'll be just as sharp as any other lens at that price point. But I noticed that it had a weird focusing issue, and it wasn't sharp all the way through. The characteristics, like the unsharpness was so unsharp. I was like, I might not even want to get this lens, but maybe this was an issue with his copy. But are you thinking about getting some kind of lens like that?
No, not really, because I just picked up a 85mm.
Oh, and we'll get into what's in your camera bag later.
It up, and because I know I do a lot of headshots, and I look at the reviews and I said, should I get it? And I don't want to offense, but if you're married, you gotta bounce to, you're not where I am. So I said, let me go ahead and use my other credit card and buy it.
Oh.
So I got it, and I did my first headshots with it, and I was like, oh my God, I love this lens. Okay. So that's one of my go-to lenses for headshots.
All right, so that leads us into what is in your bag.
Oh, gee, what's in my bag? Okay, other than my iPad. So this is my R5 Mark II.
Oh, so we confirming that you did get an R5 Mark II.
Yes.
All right.
This is a 70-200 millimeter. Okay.
Is that an EF lens?
Is
that a third party?
No. You crazy? No. I want to keep my day job.
You sure you don't want a third party? I have heard. Look, to be honest, I have heard some issues with third party 70-200s. Especially when the football player comes and truck sticks you on the sideline.
Yeah, but Canon gotta listen to what the photographers are saying out in the field.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. They're not listening, because I know there's a couple of photographers I follow on Instagram. When something goes wrong with their Canon camera or with their lens, they will go off. Especially when they call customer service and they don't get the right help, they will let everybody in the world know. So Canon needs to stop thinking they rule the world, which they kind of do. They got to start listening to the other photographers. So here's my second R5 Mark II, and this is what the 85 I was talking about.
And see, I didn't even know you had two of them. I thought you just had one.
No, I have two of them. Oh yeah. So you want to go ahead and take a look.
Okay. This is the F2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. But it feels just like the R5 Mark I.
Yeah.
It's a little bit sleeker on the hand grip. I got my R5 Mark I right here.
Yeah, don't get upset.
We got a nicer hand grip here. Just it's slightly nicer, not as deep, but it fits all your fingers. You got the 85 F2. And but everything else is pretty much the same except for this on the outside. It looks a little bit beefier, but it doesn't seem to be bigger. I don't know how Canon's doing that, but you understand. And the screen, the eyepiece definitely looks darker on the inside as far as not necessarily what I'm seeing, but just the look of it. It looks like it covers way more than just your eye, And I ain't cutting on anything like that. I don't know. Let me see if I can cut it
Yeah,
on.
yep.
Cut it on. Use this. And the diopter is actually set for you, so I'm not going to mess with that too much. But I definitely do see, and it's definitely a little bit more comfortable of an eyepiece. This is a way different technology. I haven't seen this before on a Canon camera before. As much, the eyepieces usually are the same. The only thing that's different is usually the magnification. So there's that. But let me cut that off.
No So
a nice clickier version.
This is my 24 to 70.
Okay, 24 to 70. This is the RF.
Yep. I also use that for events. Sometimes portraits when, for instance, if I'm shooting an event and someone said, "Hey, do you mind if I get a portrait outside?" I was like, "Okay, let's go outside." So I use that. You also will see with me with my other my other R5 when I'm on a bench during a hockey game. I try to get some bench shots as well. And so those pants seem like that.
Oh, okay. Me and this RF rear cap. These RF rear caps be the worst, man.
I know.
I've been trying to get these RF rear caps on. I'm so used to the EF. So I don't want you to have to go to CPS to get that.
Okay, this is my Nifty 50.
Nifty 50.
Yeah.
So you're still in that realm of Nifty 50.
Yeah,
so you do got a 50.
I do got a 50. I was looking at the other 50 and it's like, man.
Look, you just shaded that 45 millimeter. Like, no. But I mean, I think this is a little bit more solid of a lens than the 45 millimeter because you don't get that hang up of them trying to get the fastest lens for the money and then having more hang ups than this lens, which is not as fast.
Yeah.
So it probably takes them a little bit more effort to make it that fast, right?
So this is my 15 to 35.
15, wide angle. Yeah.
And so I actually use that for real estate.
Oh, okay, awesome. And this has image stabilization on there.
Yeah.
See, a lot of the old, and if I recall, a lot of the old 16 to 35s from the EF world, I'm not sure all of them had IS on them. I think there was always the first version that didn't have IS on there. Or they gave you an option with IS and one without IS. It would be good for video because, especially when you're shooting a larger, like I shoot a lot of band work, so it's a lot of people that need to be in one frame. And then you need to get far back and they need to get wide too. And you think that full frame at 24 would be wide, but it's not really that wide when it comes to that kind of stuff.
So I always carry this on me too because, like you said, there's times where I do events and I need that wide shot with all the people. I grab this one. So, but the thing is, so another crazy story. So I'm gonna take this off. So, okay, there you go. They kind of look the same, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing a real estate shoot, right? I should have this lens, but guess what? I had this lens. Yep. So I'm in the room. I'm like, I'm not getting the shot. I'm not getting the shot. And I finally turned the lens around. And it's like, oh God, brought the wrong lens. Well, that job didn't go too well. I didn't get paid for it. But so I make sure I have these in the bag every time. Yeah. Now the one that's not in the bag is my 100 to 300.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I use mostly for hockey.
Yeah, I've actually used that one.
Yeah, I remember we went to shoot cricket that one time.
Yeah, we went to go shoot cricket.
And you took off with my lens.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna have fun.
I definitely took off with a $10,000 lens. You know.
Don't tell my wife.
I totally gave it back though.
Yeah. He wants to borrow it again. Trust me.
Well, funny thing about that is my dad actually has a 300 2.8.
Okay.
So I'm not a stranger to the 300 at 2.8.
Yeah.
It was mainly knowing how, feeling the zoom out and seeing exactly how far I can get and not forgetting that sometimes you think you're zoomed in all the way, you're not zoomed in all the way, that kind of thing, or getting in the right spot based on what focal length that I could have. Yeah. And getting into that cricket match. That was the first time I ever did cricket. So I was like, I didn't know exactly.
We're there forever.
Yeah, we were there forever. And then it was hot. And so I stood there was this light fixture that goes on the stadium fixture light. And it had casted a big shadow. I just stood under there. Yeah. And you remember that lady came up to me. There was this lady that came up to me and then she was like, "You're in no man's land. Get to where the shot is better." Because I guess she was a photographer for her son. And he was out there for, but she had traveled from a long way. She had no intention of photographing that day. Yeah. She said she shot with a D500, with a 100 to 400. Yeah. Or 100 to 500. And she would be in the better spots for, because when you're doing cricket, everybody's concentrated in the middle.
Yeah.
Unless you're like, an outfielder, I guess is what they call it. And
yeah.
they catch, they catch the ball foul side, or they, but you won't really catch any of the main action unless you get close to the middle. But you can't get close to the middle because of the rules of the game.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a unique learning process for me doing cricket and stuff like that.
But you know what? The most fun sport I shot is rugby. The first time I shot rugby, I'm just like, these guys are not wearing any pads. And you could hear the bodies hit, and it's like across the field, and it's like, how do they walk in the end of the game?
It's like Muay Thai and kickboxing.
But I'm doing a karate tournament next month.
Oh.
Just got a call about that. So that's gonna be fun to shoot again. But I finally did boxing. That was fun, especially the fighters coming out. Can I get that picture? And I almost did professional wrestling.
Oh, wow.
I almost did professional wrestling. So hopefully that be coming soon.
And that cricket, that was a unique experience. But going to some more broader takes, some more broader concepts. People think that AI is taking over the world of photography. What are your thoughts on AI and how it will take over? I think I referenced a video for you. Two videos. One was about, and I think it was SLR Lounge that did it. I'm not sure if that's what they call themselves. But it was a company that did a video on fashion photography.
Yeah.
And they did an awesome video about how AI, you can just replicate an image, get a model out there for one shoot and then replicate the entire shoot from fashion, because you can have the model in different fashions by one click pretty much. And then in multiple locations didn't matter. So photographers don't have to get together to get the location, to get the time, and to get the scheduling, to get the model, to get it doesn't have to be a different model, because once AI gets a hold of the model, you can just randomly put all your products out there, all your fashion design products out there, and so what do you think about AI, and is it taking over photography?
Has anybody seen Terminator?
Yeah, I'll be back.
AI could be a great tool, or it could be a nightmare, depending on what you do. I know when I'm doing editing, I don't use too much AI. It helps to a point, but me personally, I like to go in and get the work done. Some guys, they get their software. Oh, I can do one button, everything is edited, sent off to the client. Now, when people do that, word gets around. It's like when you say, okay, this is going to cost you about $2,000 for the photos and the editing, and the client could go, what editing? You only go press one button and everything is done. All right? So you kind of get into that realm that the clients and the customers are getting smarter on what you're doing. Another thing about AI, I do a lot of headshots. A lot of these big companies, rather you take a photo of yourself on your cell phone, send it to them, and then put it in AI and get your headshot done that way. Which is like, for the headshot photographer, it's like, you're taking money out of my pocket. AI is ruining my genre. So I had a phone call from I'm not going to name who the person is. Let's say that he used to be in the Trump administration. Anyway, so he got out of it. He wants his own company, and he goes, Earl, I need some headshots. I'm thinking, okay, I could go to DC, do some headshots for him, because the headshots in DC are expensive. I mean, you're talking about 3 headshots for $500, right? So he goes, I need it right away. Have you ever heard of Insta Headshot? I'm like, no. He goes, I'll send you a website. And basically, same thing. Takes a picture of himself, put it into the system, let AI create a headshot for him, and it's like $59. $59 versus $500. What you gonna choose? Right?
And see, here's the thing about AI, and this is how I utilize AI, because I do utilize AI, but it's so hard for us to not be in a system where AI isn't ruled by. So basically, the way I use AI is that I will use AI denoise in Lightroom. That is my number one go-to AI tool. Now, if there is a point in time where I can't clone something out easily or extend a backdrop easily, I will use General Field AI to extend the background or something like that. But nothing to really overshadow my subject and the majority of the image. If I were to say I use AI, it would be for 10% of the image. I guess noise reduction, but noise reduction is just something to amplify the image quality that was already there. That's not dealing with cropping or anything like that. And I know when I upload to certain...
Whose phone is that?
But yeah, I use AI denoise for most of my images, and I don't change the core of the image. And when I upload to certain sites, they don't require you to say that AI necessarily. They don't necessarily say this whole entire image was AI. If you just used a tool like denoise or something like that. But if this entire image, including the subject, was created with AI, then they tell you to divulge whether or not it was utilized with AI. And then you have different things that can utilize AI, like your product photography and all sorts of stuff. Like if I had some Air Force Ones and I wanted to make them look good, Jordans, make them look good, I just put a picture of the Jordans in there and then the AI does the rest. I'm pretty sure all that stuff is simple. But what I don't think AI can't do what you do in the sports photography field. It can't get out there in the cold and do it as well as you do it. Now, we do have those remote control, Super Bowl's coming up. So you got that remote control, what they call that? It's not a drone. It's a camera on a suspension system.
Okay, I know what you're doing.
And but that takes two people to man it, make sure it's safe, all this other stuff. It has to be strapped up there correctly so nobody gets hit with the camera. All these other things, and it's going 30 miles per hour. I highly doubt you'll really want AI to use something that's going 30 miles per hour, but we got cars that can use AI to drive pretty much now, and it's just like it's kind of like anything else that you could actually. If AI is to take over photography as a whole, which I think it cannot.
Right, no, it won't.
It would be just like somebody going from a horse to a car. Now, with that said, there was another video that I had that said something along the lines of, and I think I sent it to you a little while back, but it was like photography is going away like cassette tapes. And the young lady, it was more of an urban podcast type of thing where they were talking about being on the set of a major movie and not seeing any photographers, not seeing them. And I'm gonna play this video back while we're talking about it. But it's just a short little Instagram reel. But they were saying that photography is going away like the Stone Age. And that's really ignorant in my opinion, because I think some people can really still shoot. And I don't think AI can really do that. And here's the worst part about AI is that copyright. I mean, you just got somebody else's images in your image. It's like one thing if it's AI noise reduction. And then there's another level if it's, frame expansion. But there's also another level of just your entire image is AI. And there's levels to AI, and who knows who's gonna want what versus what. I don't think AI can do wedding photography.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
I don't think AI can do rugby or hockey or anything that involves capturing the moment at the right time. Because even if there were cameras pre-set up in a room, you need some pretty high megapixels to get exactly the crop that you wanted. Because they're going to be cropping. They're not going to be able to get the exact ideal framing and composition.
Right. That's how... the thing is this, I sit there, I can look at a photo, I could tell if it's AI. I could easily tell it's AI. I mean, some people... may get to the point that you can't tell, but now you could definitely tell. Especially with the headshots. Could definitely tell. I use Topaz AI, and all I use for denoise and sharpening, and that is it. That is it. And people are like, "Oh wow, these photos are great," but if I start playing with your eyes or with your perfect example, just remembered. So I did a draft on somebody and took a picture of this this lady, a friend of mine. I hope she doesn't see this. I'm going to want to embarrass her. So she has a straight face. She's just like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the picture's great. A few weeks later on Facebook, I see the same picture, but she's smiling.
Oh wow!
And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I didn't take that picture. And everybody's like, oh, she's smiling. I was like, yeah. And I just knew it was AI. And then I don't know if you have this program, Avito. Ever heard of it?
Is it Evoto?
Evoto.
Right. I've used the trial program just to say because so many people were advertising it and it was like, oh, you got to get this, you got to get this. But I was like,
yeah. You could do a lot with that program. Mm-hmm. You could change the eyes, the eye shape, the nose, all AI, and that's like, and I usually tell my clients because they usually ask for, can you move this, can you do that, can you do that, and I tell them, I said, hey, if your picture's out there, you know, you got it on LinkedIn, you're doing a conference where they need your photo and they need your bio, and you have this picture there of you, mm-hmm. and then you're at this conference and I see you in person, I'm gonna think those two different people. Mm-hmm. And I tell them that all the time. You want to be yourself, the best rep. Yeah, you could do a little, take a pimple out your brain, you know. Yeah. You can do a lot. You can do all that. Move this mark, fine. But I've known people that I see them in, oh, they look great on the picture, and then when they get up to speak, I'm like, who's that?
Mm-hmm. And
yeah.
well, okay. So not everybody is as keen-eyed as you, right?
But in that it's to the point that it's AI so much.
Yeah.
When it's even in person, they're like, yeah. There's times where I say, oh, she did a little work on the picture, but it's like it's night and day.
But you got to admit that there is definitely a non-in-person market that definitely drives the market.
Yeah.
The social media, because you might not even have to meet this person in real life. And I think that's the power behind it.
Yeah.
The power behind the retouching and the changing of your facial features to where you don't have to meet that person in real life to know that, oh, that's not them in real life. And then the people that you hear say that, like, oh, it's still my favorite person. People are in denial like that. I've even seen people on social media that there's this girl. She has like a split what is it called? Vitiligo?
Yeah.
And I watch Uncle Ruckus, so I'm about to say vitiligo. But no, the skin complexion is totally white on one side and totally black on the other side. And a lot of people from the comment section, I don't know how much is bots and I don't know how much is AI just put in the comment section, but it looks like it's AI, but it's done well enough for people to be like, oh, she looks beautiful. I'm talking about millions of likes, millions of views, and stuff like that.
I may have seen that one.
And people are just going crazy about how much that they love this AI generated person, and it's kind of like it's working to a certain extent. Whereas if people don't have to care, they won't care.
Yeah, and that's the concern that I have. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna put this out there. You know.
That's my thing is if people don't care, they won't care.
Yeah.
So the last little topic we're going to get into is clients. The wonderful clients. You don't have to say don't say no names because you already know. You already know they don't want to pay. Anyway. I was just playing. No, I know. But seriously, what are some fun client stories that you might have? Don't say no names.
All right, this is probably my favorite client story. So I had to do a family shoot at Bond Park, and it was the grandmother hired me. It was her daughter, her granddaughter, her husband. Fine, it was like 4 of them, right? And one thing I don't do anymore is countdown 3, 2, 1. I just go ready, real quick, right? So I'm doing 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. I'm doing shots all over the park, right? Get home to download the photos, and every photo but one. The granddaughter had her eyes crossed in every photo. And I'm sitting here like, oh, she's going to be her grandma will be so mad. And it was like, And so I called the grandmother the next day, and I said, "Hey, I got the photos for you. They're not edited yet, but I want to show you a few photos. So can I send them to you?" She goes, "Yeah." So I put them on a link, send them to her. She goes, "You go ahead and open the link," and all I heard was, "Oh my God!" And I'm sitting like, and my wife's behind me. She's laughing. She was like, so she was, "Hey, we could do these over again." And I was like, "We can. It's gonna cost you," but she goes, "Don't worry, she's gonna pay for it." That was probably my favorite. Another favorite of mine is I was shooting a baseball game. It was about the 6-7-year-old boys playing, right? So I'm on the first base line with my 7200, right? I'm in the outfield, and I'm shooting the kids running to first base. And I'm getting great shots, right? So there's one kid who's running. He sees the camera, and what he does, he jumps in the air. He was already safe. He jumps in the air, and I got him in flight. So I send the picture to the coach. He's like, "He was safe. What did he jump for?" And I was like,
Did they get him out when he jumped?
"Nope."
Oh, okay.
I got some. When kids see the camera, I mean, they could do some of the craziest things, and that's where I get my joy from photography. Is like the reactions and the emotions, and people see the photos and they're like so happy that they got a photographer. Do I have some bad clients? Yeah. I had my first bridezilla in 5 years.
I've had one of those.
Yeah, and hope it never happens again. And what she wanted photos she found on Instagram. And I'm telling my other photographer friend about it in San Antonio. She says, "I have an idiot clause." I go, "You do?" She goes, "Yeah. The idiot clause is when I do shoot, that's something that is impossible. I jot it down, and then the next client that I have, I make sure that is in the clause saying, I can't do this, I can't do it." And she said it was 2 pages of the idiot clause. I said, "You call it idiot clause?" She goes, "Yeah, it's an idiot." So I heard R5 overheats, right?
It's been shooting. No. Before you get there, it's been shooting.
All
our 4K, and I haven't seen one overheat.
Okay, so that's the reason one of the reasons I got the R5 Mark II, because they put the vents underneath, right? So, so I got a battery grip, right? Put the battery grip in. I'm shooting at an event because I know it's gonna be long, and I'm shooting. I'm like click, click, click. I'm shooting, and it's like, next thing you know, I'm looking at the temperature gauge go up. What the? And it's like, and next thing you know, thank God I had the R3 with me, so it totally overheated.
Oh, okay.
So what I come to find out is when I looked, the battery grip covered the vents.
Was it not? It was the wrong battery grip?
Nope.
I thought the battery grip was supposed to work with, because there's different battery grip for it.
Yeah, so there's the one regular battery grip, and there's one battery grip they built with the fan.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, wait a minute, I thought you solved the problem with the vents, and now if I put a battery grip there, the problem is back again.
So you did have the battery grip with the fans on there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. They didn't know that this was a problem.
Oh, okay.
Until somebody started pointing it out. Hey, it's overheating, and that's so. The regular battery grip was $349, right?
Yeah, I remember that because they had one for the R501 about the same price.
The one with the fan is $400, and so that's why some Canon photographers were going off as like, this is a money grab. This is a money grab. You knew what you guys were doing.
Yeah, definitely that. But the R5 has always been plagued with these overheating issues.
Yeah.
But I was, and just go back to our topic with the client thing. I was recording an elder. He was turning 80 years old, and this is my first time recording with the R5, and it overheated on me. I wanted to record it in 4K because it
Yeah.
would look better, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
if I recorded in 1080p. And I was photographing pictures.
Yeah.
This was kind of in Augusty area,
Yeah.
summer, and it just. And I knew it was going to overheat, but you know I just went on and ran it anyway. This is before the firmware update. For those of us who were like, you didn't get the firmware update, you know, at the time I didn't. They didn't have the firmware update.
These firmware updates.
You know, and that's what I was saying with you guys with these mirrorless cameras. We got mirrorless cameras too. We're in the boat with you, but get your backups, know what you're dealing with, and understand it can overheat.
Yeah.
Memory can go down, dead. Cameras can go off and all this other stuff, but like I tell you, I had a client. This is back in 2014, like you brought up. She some wedding. A friend of mine got me a wedding. He was gonna be the second shooter. I was gonna be the first shooter, right?
Yeah.
I had the batteries. I had the extra cameras, all this other stuff. So we go out there, we photograph and film. Because later he wanted me, well, in the I guess consultation process, he wanted me to shoot. He said, "I don't mind whatever you pay extra." I think he probably paid $1,200 for the whole thing.
Okay.
We were supposed to split the $1,200. We were supposed to split $1,000 up, but we ended up splitting. Me and the second shooter, and I didn't really talk to him, and he don't really know what a second shooter is. At the time, he didn't know really what the second shooter's responsibility, and that the primary shooter is probably going to get paid more than than the secondary shooter. And we had kind of got into a scuffle about that. But while we were at the wedding, there was so much that went down. So I rented the 5D Mark IV because I wanted to do a car slide camera, and it has the CF and the SD card. Now, it also has dual pixel autofocus video at the time, where not many Canon cameras did. It also had 4K, but it was motion JPEG format that most computers didn't want to deal with. But I shot it. I love the images that came from the 5D Mark IV. Now, with that said, I was at the bride's house while they were getting ready. I'm getting behind the scenes stuff. Getting behind the scenes stuff, and they had a cute little girl walking around with the little hairpiece, the little daughter, or not daughter, but cousin of daughter, whatever, and her sisters, and they getting ready or whatever. And one of the sisters came up, and she came to the door, and she said, "Who is driving the gray car?" And I said, "I am." And then she said, "Oh, well, you need to come outside and look at this." So she hit my car when it was a little fender bender. Nothing too serious, but I had just got the car like a year ago. I was like, I don't want it to look like this. See if you can get your insurance to get it fixed or whatever. And then we were trying to go through it, but it was stressful, whatever. People knew that she was struggling driving or whatever. And but I was able to still drive the car, of course. We drive out to the event. I got the event done, but right when the bride kissed, so I had a camera just wide angle shot in the back doing video, camcorder. And it was in the back shooting, but when you get the bride's kiss, you want to be in the middle of the aisle.
Right. Yeah, that's what I did.
So my second shooter has the softbox on top of his camera, and he doesn't notice that I'm getting a close-up shot. So I'm actually on lower to the ground on my knees, so people can see the shot. So I'm not blocking the shot, but I'm still getting in the middle of the pews, right dead center. And I got it. I'm shooting with the 24 to 105 or 70 to 200, one of the two. And I get the shot. And I didn't think nothing of it. And then I'm going through the footage after the wedding. Notice that his softbox is blocking the entire kiss of the video. Now, I got the kiss in the picture, but I didn't get the kiss in the video. And it was covering like 90% of the frame. It was nothing I could do. And there's nothing I could do. There was no AI out there back then. I couldn't even AI it now. But long story short, I chopped out the section and then put the kiss on my picture of the kiss in there. And so that smoothing things over. But I was really, it took me a long time to put the mental math behind that to make it feel better. And there was one time where I went out to a client about 2 years ago, and I was using the SD card on my R6 Mark II. And for whatever reason, the SD card did not like me once I plugged it into the computer. Got all the way back home. I was able to review videos, let people see the happy birthday. I was able to do all of that stuff, and then I get back home, put it in my computer, and it says no card, no error. And then I ended up sending it off to the manufacturer. I'm not going to put them under the bus because they did a good job trying to help me, but I couldn't get it back. So I ended up going to the photographer, because I was the videographer that day. Ended up going to the photographer, getting the pictures together and putting together a slideshow. And there was only like maybe 2 or 3 video clips that said, like happy birthday, that I was able to put into there. But the bigger ones, like when he was walking in, it was his 50th birthday celebration. When he was walking in, missed that. When he was talking to the camera, missed that, all this stuff. But the client liked me enough to know to let me know that, hey, we hire you for something else. So they hired me for something else, and I gave them a discount. But I think that's what they wanted to use me for, and that was it, because they have hired me since. But I was able to do good on his brother's birthday. Because I was able to get it done right that time. But I know what it's like to feel like getting home and not, because I didn't, even though you have dual card slots on the R6 Mark II, I did not have two 512 gigabyte SD cards, so I could not redundantly record, and nothing could go that fast without overheating after a while. And I was able to cut off the video after a while so it wouldn't overheat, but I just did not expect that card to go out like that.
Yeah, I noticed you mentioned about you and the other photographer getting into it about money. I know when I started my business, I actually ran into two bad photographers. The first one came out in my favor because I was shooting a TEDx. I was doing one of those TEDx's, and he called me up. TEDx is when if people don't know what TEDx is, you can look it up. It's basically people that are doing speeches. It's a big thing across the country.
Oh, okay.
So I did one for Apex, and the guy called me up. He goes, "Hey, there's a TEDx going on. I can't make it. Do you mind shooting it? And I'll pay you $250." I'm thinking, well, okay, it's experience. I go, "How long is the TEDx?" It's about 3 hours. Want to be 5. So that was the shoot was great. I mean, I heard some incredible speeches. One brought me to tears. I mean, these people will reveal themselves to you. So he said, "Hey, can you drop the memory card at my house?" I said, "Okay, no problem." So I dropped it at the house. I said, "Just make sure I get it back." So I was like, okay, I'm waiting for the photos. I said, "How do they look?" And it's like, "Oh, they're great." And I gave them to the courier. I'm like, "Okay, great, right?" So let's put that story in the back burner. So he hired me again to shoot a wedding, right? So he said, which now I know it's a lie. He said his cameraman got hurt in an accident. He had to go and cover for him. Can I shoot a wedding in Raleigh? And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "It's a small wedding. It's super last about 20 minutes. I'll pay you $200, right?" I said, "Okay, I'm not doing him a favor." So I called the girl the day of the wedding, and I said, "Hey, this is Earl, your photographer. I'm here to shoot for you." And she's like, "Huh?" She goes, "Okay." He goes, "Yeah, I'll be at your house in 15 minutes. Okay, so she was really nice. The fiance was nice, but according to the contract, he is supposed to shoot the wedding. Okay, so everything was great. Then this is where we're into firmware. So Canon had a firmware on the R3 on the R3. So basically, when you're shooting photos, especially with the flash, it leaves like a line at the bottom, right? And I thought it was my flash. It wasn't flash, it was the camera. So the majority of the photos had a line at the bottom, right? And so I didn't notice it. So I download the photos and send it off to him, thinking he would notice, but he's supposed to edit the photos. He never did. So he sent everything to her, like when I did the TEDx, because I found out where I did get the photos from the TEDx, he never edited them. He just sent them the way they were. I was like, anyway, he made some money. So anyway, so he calls me up. He's like, "So, did you use a flash?" I'm like, "Yeah, I used a flash." He goes, "There's something wrong with the photos. There's a line at the bottom." I'm like, "There's a line at the bottom?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "No, because where I was shooting, there was coverage. There was trees all around, and I had to use flash because where you could see everybody." He's like, "No, you need to fix this now." And he's yelling at me over the phone. I'm like, "What? Let me talk to the bride." "No, I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna take care of this." And anyway, push come to shove, I got a friend who said, "Okay, he could fix it, no problem, right?" And then he told me, "Oh, yeah." I called another friend about the photos. There's a firmware that was out that day. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, they would have took care of everything. And I was like, oh, man. Yeah. So the first thing he did, sign up for firmware. Okay, great. So she's upset. And I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to apologize for ruining, I felt bad ruining her day. So I know before I went there, I talked to her, I said, hey, I could give you 150 photos for about $300. She goes, oh, that's too much. I said, ma'am, you got me there for 3 hours. There's going to be plenty of photos. So she said, can I get only 75? I go, okay, get 75, but it's going to be $300 for the whole thing. So great. So I did the photo shoot. I took about 800 photos that day. So I gave her 150. Plus, as a gift, I gave her an extra 100. Because, like I said, she just had this baby, right? And it was so nice to me at the end. And they gave me food and great, right? So she's like, I love the photos. I'm going to give you a great review, blah, 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 blah. And then she goes, can I get the rest of the photos? I go, no, because we agreed on 150. I was not going to give you 250. I'm not going to give you all 800 photos, right? So then it gets worse. She writes me the next day, I give you all the photos for $20.
Wait, what? She wants to give you all the photos? No.
She said, I pay for all the photos. I can't get all the photos for $20.
Oh, so she, oh no.
And I was like, and then I broke it down to her. I said, this is what I gave you. This is what I gave. I gave you 150 plus another 100. So there's ones that have left. I said it's $5.
I'm listening.
I said it's $5 a photo. So it's about $2,000 you're gonna give me for these photos, right?
Exactly.
So she writes, okay, that's okay, right? She didn't write, oh, that's okay. I just forget about it. She goes, that's okay. And I said, okay, I have these photos for you next week. So I did the photos yesterday. I finished them yesterday. And something told me in my head, don't send her the photos, get the payment first. Right? So I said, hey, the photos are ready. Do you have my Zelle account? She goes, why do you need your Zelle? I said, you're going to pay me for these photos that we agreed on. You said okay. And I sent her the screenshot of when she said that's okay. She goes, no, I meant that's okay. I don't want them. Oh, did I lose it?
What?
I lost it. And I was like, you know what?
But you did get paid for something, right?
I got paid for the original 150 that I did. But I didn't. But yeah, so I deleted those photos. So she could call me today, and I was like, they're gone.
Wow.
I was so mad.
That's heavy, man.
Yeah.
Because she essentially took advantage of your trust.
Yeah.
And that's not something that anybody wants to hear.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm done. Every time, and I told my wife, why does every time I work with somebody from India, they wind up freaking just pissing me off and want to cheat with me? I was like, why?
You give them an inch and they'll take a mile, man.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, man, because I've had that happen in so many different ways, and it can happen in the littlest of ways too. Let me see.
So I got did this wedding last weekend, and I said, they had it at an auto garage. It was cool. It was cool. So I said, yeah, it's gonna be about $300, no problem. I said, so it was a nice wedding. It was a nice wedding. So I got the photos to them and everything, and I was like, hey, photos are ready, da-da-da-da. And she was like, wow. One word, wow. And when she paid me, she gave me an extra $100.
Yeah. I have a client that does that to me every time I photograph her birthday party. I photograph her birthday party yearly, and she'll take me out to fancy wine places.
Yeah.
Oh, you can have some of the cheese, the wine, the chicken. Eat up. I love your pictures.
Yeah.
I'll do a photo shoot before she gets to the event of her personally, and then I'll do a photo shoot of her when we get to the event, and then she'll always pay me extra.
Yeah.
She always pays me extra. She said, "Oh, I was surprised that the pictures came out so fast." I'm like, "Well, you treated me so well.
Yeah, right.
I put you on high priority.
Yeah, I do that.
Got them out faster, and then she paid me even more than I asked her for." And that's what I say, man. Even though AI is here, man, all in all, it's just we want to make sure that we still respect ourselves as photographers.
Yeah.
We got the talent. We were needed. We were demanded. That demand has to be compensated for in this capitalist society. I mean, because when they demand something, they expect, you know what I'm saying, people to show up and do their thing.
I always go an extra mile. I was like, I always arrive 30 minutes early. They're like, "You here already?" I'm like, "Yeah." I know the event's at 3, but I'm here to look around and make some suggestions.
Yeah, make sure you got your
out.
spacing, the right length.
Yeah, the right length. Now I carry everything now. I carry everything in a bag now.